Welcome to the Main Zone. I am Jermaine. Thank you for tuning in my podcast. Wherever you are, however you're listening, as always, thank you. Whether it's Spotify, Apple Podcast, or even watching on YouTube, yeah, I really do appreciate it. I say that every time I actually do a podcast, but it's just to reiterate the fact that I am blessed. For those that will take the time to listen to what I have to say. It's been a while. I mean, to be honest, I think it's a couple months, the last few months of the school year, just a real big grind between that and, my kids having their activities and, just life, got a little bit overwhelmed. So got behind on this. So I missed a lot of things I actually wanted to discuss. So some of it I'm just going to skip because there's no reason to go backwards because there's a lot of it's like, old news. But nonetheless, I'm back. It's the summertime, so I have a little bit more time on my hands now until August. So you'll be hearing from me a lot more for the last few months. So let's start though, man. First, I want to just say, big shout out to all the educators out there and teachers out there. Made it through another school year. Each year, I think education gets harder and harder. It's not easy. So for everybody that lasted a year, all the teachers and educators, man, salute to you. Students as well, especially those that are trying to do some great things in this world. I had my third graduating class at my school last week, which was fantastic. Great to see those young people cross the stage. As I tell all my students, don't make high school your highlight of your life. I think too often we celebrate high school graduation as this magical, awesome thing that happened. I'm not taking anything away. You graduated high school, but I mean, that's like the bare minimum today to be successful in most cases. So again, though, congrats to those students for making it across that stage. Congrats to my former students. Lots are finishing their freshman and sophomore years this past May. So keep grinding. Life's going to get difficult. Just wipe your tears away. Keep moving forward. Talk to somebody if you need to. But ready to go this next school year. My running joke at my school is, when am I going to move in a different direction? But they know I'm there. I enjoy the work that I do. It's difficult as heck, but hey, somebody's got to be in there. So again, though, man, 3 years out of COVID, trying to get kids reacclimated fully to, school. So, man, congrats. Any educator that made it through the whole year, man, proud of you. You should be proud of yourself. I wish we all can get some massive raises. But nonetheless, keep up the good work of teaching and influencing the next generation of great people. All right, so on to the news. Let's do some news first. The main thing I want to talk about today will be a lot of NBA, but we got some news to cover before I get to all of that. So the latest news, let's start with the PGA. Now, for y'all that don't know, I'm an avid golfer. I love playing golf. I mean, you can catch me wanting to play golf. If I could every day, I'd play. I'm not in that position yet, but great game. So for those that don't know, the PGA is like your flagship. It's where all the legacy is, and it's where all the prestige and the honor, and that's where players play. They play on the PGA Tour. Well, a couple of years ago, a Saudi-backed league came through called LIV Golf. Was offering guys lots and lots of money. $200 million for a guy. I think Dustin Johnson got $200 million. Just big money, and they would play less golf, so they wouldn't have to play as much golf. They get paid more money. Only 3 rounds at each event and things like that. But your tour players was like, no, I'm not going to leave. So like Tiger didn't leave, Rory didn't leave, John Rahm didn't leave. And then they wake up the other day and bam, PGA had merged with LIV, sort of. Now, my argument with that, and I was playing golf yesterday with a couple of friends, is that never turned down the money. Tiger turned down something close to $800 million. Hideki Matsuyama turned down, rumored, was over $400 million. Never turned down the money because I think the guys that are running the PGA, I'm pretty sure they got paid to merge. So never, man. It'd be interesting to see how this works, but never turn down cash from a standpoint of you're still doing the same thing that you were doing. You can still play in the same, they could still play in the majors and all that type of stuff. Just that guaranteed money is that guaranteed money. And I see people that went the other way saying, well, it's my honor and where's the money coming from and all that kind of stuff. But it doesn't matter because look what happened a year later. Like it was this time last year that they offered Tiger $800 million. He says no. Fast forward to this year, they merge anyway. He's going to be playing sort of hand in hand with LIV Golf, yet he gave up the $800 million. So yeah, don't turn down the money. Messi, the great Argentinian soccer player, signed with Intel Miami, actually blowing off a team in Saudi. A Saudi Arabia team offered him, it was like $643 million for each season for 3 years, which is crazy. But he turned it down, something like that. But he turned it down. He signed with Intel Miami. It's funny. So Intel Miami 3 days ago didn't have hardly any Instagram followers on their social media page. Fast forward to today, and they have more than the NBA, NFL pages. I mean, that's the power of one guy. So they can't pay him crazy amount of money that he could probably get in the open market. But what they did do that was interesting is his contract will have like part ownership. It has some stake in Apple and Adidas, something like that along those lines. It's still all being worked out. But I think he's got a different type of contract that I think other athletes are going to look for into the future. Because this is something that's even longer lasting than a standard contract where it's like 3 years for $100 million. Well, his is tied to their revenue. His is tied to their, I think, their viewership on online and on TV. So, I mean, great job, Messi. Great job for MLS. I mean, that's probably the biggest name we've ever had come over here. Granted, he is 35. He's a little bit older of a player, but doesn't matter. I mean, he's still Messi. He's going to still draw huge crowds, and people are going to want to see that. So, big ups to him. What else we got? Ja Morant. I'm not going to really go on him that much. I talked about it in the last episode. Then fast forward to right now, he's still getting in trouble for the same stuff. Look, I'm going to say it again. His father is not his. Yes, Ja's a grown man, but Dad, come on in and guide your son. I'm just going to keep saying that. It just shows the importance of friend choice. Period. You got to have the right friends around you. You've got to make sure you put the right people around you. And so, hopefully he navigates through this. I know they're gonna hammer down his punishment after the finals, but and I hope it's not something crazy. I don't think he deserves anything like that. What he did was not illegal, quote unquote. It's just a bad look from an optics standpoint for the NBA. So they're trying to protect their image. You work for the league, man. They have to protect their image. You have to understand that. So we'll see what happens there. The bigger news, though, amongst the brothers out of South Carolina is Zion Williamson. Now, for those that don't know, Zion was before he entered the NBA, he was a can't miss prospect. You got to have him. He's box office when he's available. That's the key, when he's available. Dude played 29 games this past season. He goes on social media yesterday and announced he's going to be a father. He has a child on the way. Who cares? Great for him. I mean, no knock on that. And then here comes some adult star that went on a rant on social media about how all the things that they had been doing recently together, letting him do things without protection and things of that nature, which is just for him, it's just stupid. Like, why would you even do that? Twofold, like Zion, you can get, come on, man. There's so many, women out there that you can you can get, quite frankly, because you're Zion Williamson. Like, what's the need of an adult film star? And then on top of that, you got an adult film star, but you're not even, in her case, what she's alleging that you're doing is not even having protection. You done lost your mind. Like, that's stupid. Sorry. It makes no sense. You're worth too much money. You have, like, are you serious? Come on, man. You only played 29 games this past season. Remember, you wouldn't even come back for the playoff game because you said your hamstring wasn't 100%. You couldn't get over it mentally. Now, what the problem was, you couldn't get over it mentally what this adult star was doing to your butt. Being honest, I mean, she had you all jacked up. So, young fella, do better. But that goes right there back to what I talk about all the time, which is like friend choices that LeBron James has made. I don't want to make this about LeBron at all, but just look at his team. Look at his name. Look at, have you heard any super negative press? No. Like, even when you sit there and think back, like a couple weeks ago, I wish I would have spoke about this. It was Savannah came out and said that, she loves being a mom, loves supporting her sons, loves supporting LeBron. And that's unique in today's landscape. Now, I'm not trying to get everybody, commenting on my page and going crazy like I'm talking reckless. I'm not, but it is refreshing to see someone with that type of juice, that type of power in Savannah James' case, and who is just comfortable being in kind of the back seat and letting her husband thrive. Because if you were to talk to LeBron, he would tell you that the reason he's able to thrive and do so great is because who he has in his corner. That has allowed him to grow into his greatness. She's been an integral part of his success. And it just shows, like, man, LeBron has just made good decisions. Because look at these two knuckleheads from South Carolina that are supposed to be the faces of the NBA. These guys are supposed to be the faces of the NBA, and there's nothing coming out lately of either one of them. We're not hearing reports that Zion's leaned up and lost 50 pounds. He's looking explosive. He's worked on his spot up shot. Nothing. We're not hearing anything about Ja. Ja's out there working on his three ball, getting his body a little bit bigger and stronger to withstand the rigors of the NBA. Nah, I'm not hearing any of that. We're hearing Ja with the gun again, and Zion. Nothing wrong with him having a baby with whatever girl he's having a baby with, but all we're hearing about is the side piece or the extra chick mad because he got another chick pregnant. She's a porn star. Like, oh, Lord, come on, man. You got to be smarter, young guys. You got to be smarter, man. Protect yourself, protect your image, protect your family, protect your name. All right, that's enough of my soapbox for that. Let's get on to the Godfather NBA. Well, before we get to that, let's go to Skip and Shannon. So for y'all, everybody should know by now, Shannon Sharp agreed to a buyout with Fox Sports. He'll be leaving undisputed after the finals. I want to say congrats to him for that. I think it was long overdue. I think he's proven that he could be successful without Skip. And Skip has spent so much of his time being disrespectful to Shannon that I'm surprised Shannon never came across the table and put his hands on him. The two major incidents that have happened in the past 6 months were when Shannon called out Tom Brady for playing bad, and Skip went on a rant about how Shannon's jealous of Tom Brady because he's better than him. Mind you, Shannon's a 3-time Super Bowl champion. He's in the Hall of Fame. Like, wow. But Skip, for certain players, you can't talk bad about them. And one of them is Tom Brady. And the other incident was after the playoff game. The game with Bills versus the Bengals. When Hamlin went down when had cardiac arrest. Shannon Sorry, Skip put a tweet out. Shannon didn't agree with it. So the next day, Shannon didn't show up. Skip did the show by himself. Day after that, Shannon shows up. He tries to go opening monologue, and Skip interrupted him. Shannon got in his feelings a little bit and said, "Hey, man, you won't let me do an open monologue. Let's go, Jen. Let's go, Jen." If you watch the video, I should post it actually. So you can see a growing rift between those two guys, as I think it was jealousy from a standpoint of Skip being jealous of Shannon and his success, and how, he had his Club Shay Shay podcast. He's dynamic. He knows his stuff. You can tell that he does his research, which is key. He wasn't a football player turned analyst that did not have any work ethic. You don't get to the level he did athletically without having some form of work ethic. And so you could tell that he's done his homework on all the topics that they cover. I know a lot of people hand them things and stuff like that. They're not coming off the top of their head, but he's done a good job. I got to give him credit when credit's due. I haven't watched their show in man, I don't know the last time I actually watched a full episode of Undisputed. And it's mainly because they stay on the same freaking 5 topics the whole time. So I normally just watch a little bit on Instagram and things like that, because one, here's some critique of Shannon. He's too much of a homer for LeBron. And then on the flip side, Skip just hates LeBron. Same with for Brady. Skip, you can't talk bad about Brady to save your life. So I am happy for Shannon Sharpe. I hope Skip retires. I think he's made an entire career off of not just analyzing players, but being disrespectful. That's my thing. Like even me, no big major following, nothing. I mean, I can count on the amount of people in a room that listen to my podcast every single day. You know what I mean? Not the following that Skip has, but I do my best not to be disrespectful. I'll critique a player like Zion. Man, you're not being smart in decision making right now, but I'm not gonna. These guys are phenomenal athletes, and I can't go out of my way to be disrespectful to who you are as a human. I could talk bad. I could say, "Hey, you're playing bad," but I don't have to take it personal. I think Skip has done a masterful job of creating a career off of that. And so I hope he actually just fades into the sunset. We know he won't. He'll get somebody else to go on with him. Heck, Skip, you looking for a partner? Hey, I'll come in and debate you all day. But good for Shannon, man. I can't wait to see the movie he's going to be making actually next. Man, let's go to Pat Riley. I mean, y'all, think about it. Pat Riley has guided the Heat. He's the executive of the Heat. This is his 19th finals appearance. I think it's like 24 point something % of the NBA finals in the history of the league Pat Riley's been a part of, whether it be player, coach, or executive. So that's amazing. I don't think we talk enough about the culture that he has created for the Heat at all. Even being able to find Eric Spoelstra. Like, remember, he started as a video coordinator, and Pat saw something in him, probably saw himself in him because of his start with the Lakers, when you sit and think about it. So, man, Pat Riley, you're like the mafia guy of the NBA. Think about it. When you wanted LeBron to come to Miami, your first meeting with him, you just put the rings on the table, said this is what you want, and then everybody knows the Heat players are the most conditioned players in the league because of the type of conditioning you put guys through, and you demand excellence for so many of your players. So, I think people should give Pat Riley more credit than they do. I think since he's now in an executive role, that we tend to forget of who he is. But man, he's done a masterful job of guiding the Heat. I mean, when you think about their roster, they don't have a lot of first round picks, but they have a lot of undrafted players actually playing heavy minutes. So that means they have an amazing scout team. That means they know how to develop their players, and that all starts with Pat Riley. So before we continue with the finals, because I should have transitioned that straight to the finals, but the Spurs, I live here in San Antonio, the Spurs won the lottery. They'll be getting old Victor Wemby. So big ups to the San Antonio Spurs fan base. I know Adrian Wojnarowski was going crazy talking about this is the biggest prospect in the history of team sports. He forgot about LeBron. He forgot about what was the kid? Oh, Bryce Harper. You forget about Zion just 4 or 5 years ago. All right, come on, man. I get it. We live in this like climate now where it's like you're the prisoner of the moment. But I think he's gonna be a great talent. I'm not saying he's not, but I would hold off to say that it's he has to be better than Tim Duncan and Olajuwon to have a successful career. Like you're talking, two of the top 10 players that ever played the game. And so you're basically saying it's Hall of Fame or bust for this young man, which I think is unfair, especially at his size, because you don't know how, I know he's taking care of his feet. I've seen some of the exercises he does, but you never know with a guy that size, how long his body holds up. Wish him not the best though. And huge props to the Spurs for getting that pick. Now let's get to the finals. Now I did pick Denver over Miami. Once the finals were set, I did not pick them to make it to the finals. So I can't take that type of credit, but I do want to say, as far as these finals, wow, Jokic is amazing. Jamal Murray is playing at such a high level, and these finals, in my opinion, prove that the NBA regular season is completely just get rid of it. Get rid of it. It doesn't matter who has home court. It doesn't matter. Only thing that matters is that you get into the playoffs. Miami has proved that. The way the game is played in the regular season is not the playoffs. And so where you're watching these finals and you're watching these playoffs, you're having to really execute in the playoffs. You're really having to have counter upon counter or different reads against this a set. You'll have defenders actually closing out. The referees let you play a little bit more, which allows a better flow of the game, in my opinion. The regular season is all threes and layups. Once you get to the playoffs, those threes are no longer there, and you can't take layups. The problem is guys don't have that mid-range. Enough guys don't have the mid-range because that's such a lost art of the game. But since you don't have to work on it during the regular season because you will get wide open threes or you'll get layups, you look like Boston in the playoffs. Whereas once they run them off the three-point line, that one dribble, two dribble pull up, you're not comfortable taking because you haven't had to take it all year. That's not a shot that you actually work on anymore because you only work on side step threes, step back threes, or spot threes. Like Jason Tatum, like Jaylen Brown, like so many guys in the NBA. But look at what teams are in the finals, the two teams. They thrive at the mid-range. So during the regular season, they don't look awesome and they're not scoring a crazy amount, like the Heat. They're not scoring a crazy amount of points and everybody's like, oh, wow, they're not that good. No, but once you get to the playoffs and the game slow down and you have to execute, one, offensively, they can hit the mid-range. Bam is a great mid-range shooter. Jimmy's a great mid-range shooter. And then you got your snipers, right? The other teams that they're playing against in the East, they did not have that. It was three or layup. And so when you're only three or layup, it's easier to guard in the playoffs because I'm going to close out hard at you. And since I know you're going to have to put the ball down and take one or two dribbles, but you don't work that shot often enough, that's going to be a miss. I'll live with that percentage. And so that's essentially what's happening to a lot of our playoff teams that you think should beat, especially in the East, it should beat the Heat. Is that Boston, if they're not hitting those threes and they're not getting layups, so once, let's say Tatum drives in, there's a kick out to Marcus Smart. Well, how often does Marcus Smart take a pump fake, one dribble pull up? That's a midi. Never. You take a pump fake sidestep three, but the Heat discipline is close out and stay solid. And he can't get all the way to the basket because on the rotation, they're actually rotating faster than they did in the regular season. So I say all that to say is that it's frustrating to watch the NBA regular season because nobody's playing hard. And then you get a false sense of how good players are, and then they get these massive max contracts. Now, I'm not knocking anybody for getting the money that somebody will give them. Going back to Live Golf, take your money. But you're expecting, if in the NBA, you're slotted by your salary, you're slotted by your max, you're slotted by your years of service, you're slotted by if you were first team All NBA or MVP or things like that. So if you get, let's say you get first team All NBA in the regular season, you're not going to look the same in the playoffs. And it's not because, they're finally playing defense. It's now they're actually making you counter on the things that you got comfortable doing the regular season. So somebody like Jaylen Brown, who's going to be handed a $295 million contract for 5 years, is he worth it? I'm not going to get in that right now. That'll be, my NBA free agent podcast. But that's why I view the NBA as just a waste of time basically now. And guys don't want to play. Guys, they get paid too much money now to play with any type of injury. And the way that regular seasons play is just an AAU game. It's so up and down so fast that there's wear and tear extra on the body. Back to the finals. I called it with my buddies and my friends. I said 4-1 Denver before the series started. I'm gonna stick to it. I don't think Miami has enough in them to pull this off. It's been a great run by Jimmy, great coaching by Spo, but I don't think they have enough. Jokic is just playing at an all-time level, and Jamal Murray is proving that the regular season doesn't mean anything because he can get going in the playoffs. He's thriving right now. He had triple-double last night, so did Jokic. So I got Denver winning the finals this year. Malone finally pulling it off. Jokic, a finals MVP, 2-time regular season MVP and NBA champion. I mean, hey, there's a few guys that can say that, especially at his age. So huge. If they pull it off, again, they have to pull it off. So, but I am going to stick with Denver to win the finals. And my next podcast, we're going to close out now. We're heading into Father's Day. Well, we're heading into Father's Day. So I'm going to re-release my first Father's Day podcast, which is actually my first podcast I ever did. And then I got to get I got to interview a couple of fathers. I got to find them out there. I did hit up a few people to interview. Still waiting to get back on those dates from them. But, as always, like, subscribe, comment, so I can reply back. And until next time,